Salam sejahtera, good morning, good afternoon, good evening everyone. Yang berhormat Datuk Seri Dr. Norani Ahmad, Minister of Higher Education Malaysia. Yang berbahagia Datuk Seri Dr. Mazlan Yusof, Secretary General Ministry of Higher Education Malaysia. Professor Dr. Nordin Yahya, Director, Higher Education Leadership Academy AKEPT Malaysia. Professor Dato Dr. Ekwan Toreman, Vice Chancellor, Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia. Distinguished speakers, Professor Dato Dr. Ahmad Bashawe Haji Abdul Ghani, Vice Chancellor, Universiti Utara Malaysia. Professor Dr. Arif Satria, Rector IPB University Bogor, Indonesia. Dr. Moon Suk An, Vice President for International Affairs, Jeonbuk National University, South Korea. Dr. Sergio Antonio Silva Munoz, Provost for Academic Affairs, University Guanajuato, Mexico. Moderator, Professor Dr. Rosna Awang Hashim, Academy of Professor Malaysia and Professor at University Utara Malaysia. Honorable guests, participants from all across the world who join us this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 4th AKEPT Global Series President Forum in collaborations with Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia with the theme Universities Leadership in Challenging Times and the Way Forward. I am Tadut Unja, Deputy Director of International Relations Center, UKM, your MC for today's webinar. We know today most of university leaders are confronted with overwhelming challenges and uncharted water as they resume to navigate the global pandemic aftermath. This webinar is indeed timely as we seek build a lighthouse at a hidden rocky or build a rope to navigate the higher education journey. We are honored and grateful to have an ensemble of presidents and their representatives to share their thought, experience, and visions. To begin today's webinar, we are honored to have the Minister of Higher Education Malaysia, Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Dr. Norani Ahmad, to deliver the welcoming speech.
Deputy Dr. Mazlan Yusof, Secretary General, Ministry of Higher Education, Malaysia. Professor Dr. Nordin Yahya, Director, Higher Education Leadership Academy, Malaysia. Professor Dr. Ekwan Haji Toriman, Vice Chancellor, Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia. Professor Dr. Ahmad Bashawe Haji Abdul Ghani, Vice Chancellor, Universiti Utara Malaysia. Professor Dr. Arif Satria, Rector, IPB University Indonesia. Dr. Man Suk And, Vice President for International Affairs, Jeonbuk National University, South Korea. Dr. Sergio Antonio Silva Munoz, Provost for Academic Affairs, the University of Guanajuato, Mexico. Professor Dr. Rosna Awang Hashim, Academy of Professors Malaysia and University Utara Malaysia. University representatives from Malaysia across the world, ladies and gentlemen. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning, afternoon, and evening to all the speakers and attendees of our webinar today, my fellow honorable speakers and participants. I wish to extend a very warm welcome to the 4th AKEPT Global Talk Series, a collaborative effort between the Higher Education Leadership Academy and Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia. The program gathers university presidents across the world and their representatives to share their insights and thoughts on issues surrounding international higher education. And today, we are honored to have such distinguished panel of experts to share their experiences and wisdom as university leaders. This webinar will align towards the strategic alternatives needed for the way forward in the era where internationalization is faced with restrictions and challenges. The theme, University's Leadership in Challenging Times and the Way Forward, aims at ensuring the aptitude of higher education institutions to analyze the recruitment strategies and execute a tactical gambit to draw in global students' audiences as well as university partners through a keen focus on value added recruitment. This debate will also highlight the importance of university leaders to address pressing issues on matters of sustainability, addressing the need for technological advancement, and how effective leadership strategies can keep the faculties and research institutions intact, as well as motivating academic communities and universities employees. We acknowledge that the current pandemic situation brings great impacts from different features of global societies. Consequently, in dealing with unpredictable challenges of higher education institutions which require strong transformational leaders to search for strategic imperatives in positioning the institutions and bringing sustainability in universities up to the next level henceforth. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope from today's discussion, university leaders will be able to share their experience and demonstrate the institution's relevance by reviving learning environments so that digitalization expands and complements the student teacher and student student interactions. I hope by today's webinar, all of us will gain insight on how to prioritize in leading our institutions forward. Dear speakers and attendees, to keep abreast with the current development of the pandemic, the leaders need to be quick in adapting to the current norm caused by the pandemic. This ability to quickly adapting to the current norm is applicable to all, not only to the leaders. There will be plans that are not feasible due to the current factors, but a great leader will learn from the challenges and adapt, thus will come up with better strategies and plans. To all of us in Malaysia, internationalization is embracing the new norms in the manners of online meetings, online conferences, and various forms of online communication. The strategic collaborations are coming in new forms as communications and discussion are now rapidly done online. Even though physical internationalization is limited, the virtual internationalization is incorporating itself slowly but surely. And I believe this is the way to go forward now. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that all of you will gather new knowledge and gain new insights from today's webinar. Indeed, I truly believe that it is timely for us to hold this webinar to listen to the challenges, struggles, and inspiring stories of these leaders and how they are positioning their universities in moving forward. I would like to express my deepest thanks to both AKEPT and UKM for collaborating in coming up with this prestigious event. AKEPT as a higher education leadership academy working with UKM, one of the premium research universities in Malaysia, provides a synergy that will bring excellence in global education. With Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, I hereby officiate AKEPT Global Series University Presidents Forum in collaboration with UKM on the theme titled Universities Leadership in Challenging Times and the Way Forward. Thank you very much and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri. In the spirit of moving forward together in this challenging and defining time, let us keep the ball rolling. And I would like to introduce our moderator for today's webinar, Professor Dr. Rosna Awang Hashim. Professor Dr. Rosna Awang Hashim is an educational psychologist and motivations scientist at the School of Education, University Utara Malaysia. Currently, she's also a member of Board of Governors at Al-Bukhari International University and the Assistant Secretary General Academy of Professors Malaysia. She obtained her bachelor degree and master degree from University of North Texas and completed her PhD from University of Southern California, specializing in educational psychology. She is an active researcher, a regular invited speaker, and trainer. Over the last 31 years at University of Utara Malaysia, she has served in various leadership capacities, including director of ICRAC, Institute for Child and Adolescents Educational Advancements, dean of the School of Education and director of the Center for University Teaching and Learning. Her last position was as Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic and International of University Utara Malaysia. Please welcome Professor Dr. Rosna Awang Hashim.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tanot, for your kind introduction. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good morning or good evening, wherever you are, good afternoon. Our distinguished guests, esteemed panelists and participants out there on Zoom and FB Live, welcome to this session. I'm delighted to be here today, actually. Thank you so much for AKEPT and also UKM for giving me this platform. Because higher education is something that we are so passionate about, especially during this crisis moment, challenges that we are facing. I think this has become a very crucial issues for everyone in higher education. And you see today's university leaders are confronted with huge challenges, like been mentioned earlier by the minister. They had to navigate the global pandemic aftermath. So I hope today we can learn wisdom and experiences, inspiring experiences from 4 different countries. And at the same time, we're trying to make sense how future higher education will be informed by our prior experience, if there is any that we can learn from, and also our ability and foresight to reimagine the future of higher education. During these critical moments, university leaders ought to demonstrate the institution's relevance from providing meaningful online learning experiences to recreate perhaps sustainable financial model, and not to mention also impact the society. So it's among some of the pivotal questions often raised in academia is, what is the future of the universities? What will be the new strategic imperatives in the new normal? And how does an institution gain global prominence, yet maintain a local relevance? Well, there's tough question to be deliberated today. So to discuss these issues, we are proud to bring 4 distinguished leaders from university around the globe. Allow me to introduce 4 gentlemen today with us. Our first speaker is Professor Dr. Ahmad Bashawir Haji Abdugani. He's the Vice Chancellor of University Utara Malaysia. He holds an MBA in Financial Management from University of Hull, United Kingdom, and a PhD in Commerce from Murdoch University, Australia. He's an expert in international business management, which includes international business, business research, strategic alliances, policy modeling, and business economics. Prior to joining UUM, he worked in a number of public and private sector organizations in Malaysia and abroad, where he was involved in various economic, strategic, and business research projects spanning most sectors of the economy. As the Vice Chancellor for a management university, he has a vision and mission for University of Utara Malaysia to become the Harvard of the East and transition to an internationally focused institution that partners with a range of leading global universities and multinational organizations. Welcome, Dato. Our second speaker, Professor Dr. Arif Satria. Is he here yet? Let me introduce Professor Arif. He will maybe joining us later. He's a rector of International Pertanian Bogor, or IPB University, Indonesia. He received his bachelor's degree in socioeconomics and master's degree in rural sociology from the Faculty of Agriculture, IPB, earned his doctorate in marine policy from the University of Kagoshima, Japan. He's currently chairman of the Indonesian Forum of Rectors for the year 2020. Previously, he was advisor to the Indonesian Minister of Marine and Fisheries back in 2012. Professor Arif has been actively involved in the development of marine and fisheries policies since 2002, including the preparation of the Blue Economic Concept, as well as a number of government and ministerial regulations. Welcome, Professor Arif. Our third speaker from Mexico, Professor Dr. Sergio Antonio Silva Munoz. Welcome, Dr. Silva. He's a professor of the Department of Civil Engineering and a provost at Academic Affairs at the University of Guanajuato. He's a civil engineer by training, graduated from the University of Guanajuato, a master and doctor of engineering from Tokyo Institute of Technology, and a graduate from the Building Research Institute of Japan. Previously, Professor Silva has served as director of the Office of International Relations and Academic Collaboration and general coordinator of academic development in Guanajuato campus of UG. He has vast experience in international research collaboration and has published widely and has lectured in various countries, including Mexico, United States, Asia, Europe, and Central America. He has participated as special guest of the Japan Society of Civil Engineering and also the Academy of Sciences, Malaysia, and the Institute of Lowland and Marine Research in Japan. Welcome, Professor Silva again. And finally, from South Korea, we brought here today Dr. Moo So-an. He's a vice president for international affairs and professor in the Department of Political Science and Diplomacy at Jeonbuk National University, South Korea. He received his bachelor's degree from Seoul National University, master's from York University, and PhD from Warwick University in the UK. His main interests are international relations, North Korean politics, and foreign policy of North and South Korea. He has published numerous papers and books dealing with Northeast Asian international relations, North Korea, and Korea and US relations. Currently, he's in charge of international cooperation concerning Jeonbuk National University, Korea. Welcome, Dr. Ant, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us today. Well, we don't have much time. We have about 1 hour to deliberate on several issues that we want to bring up today. So ladies and gentlemen, before we begin this session, I would like also to invite our participants out there. I believe several hundreds participants on Zoom and also on Facebook Live. If you have any question, please post the question in our chat box in the Zoom and also in the Facebook Live. We are going to collect some of the questions, but I cannot promise we can entertain all questions due to time constraint, but we'll try my very best to entertain a few. Well, let's get the ball rolling. So I would like to begin this session with looking back at the crisis management during the first phase of pandemic. We can see that the COVID-19 has impacted higher education globally in so many aspects. And a year after the first case was announced, what has changed in your institution? Does your organization have a crisis management team to manage short-term impacts and initiate appropriate countermeasures in coping with the unprecedented incident? Perhaps I would like to invite each of the president and vice president to share how your first wave of COVID-19 pandemic handled in your university. May I invite our home guest first, Professor Datuk Bashawi?
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Rosna. Let me take this opportunity to express my sincere appreciation to Minister of Higher Education Malaysia, my colleagues from Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia, and Professor Nordin from the AKEPT for inviting me to share my views and insight or thoughts on a very important topic, university leadership in challenging times. Now, let me begin my thought today by quoting Benjamin Franklin. Everybody knows Benjamin Franklin, who remarked that an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Now, these statements goes to show the important role that education plays in our life. Now, when the world was suddenly thrusted into turmoil to the COVID-19 pandemic, it has somewhat changed the education landscape dramatically and made redundant many well-established learning models being practiced in universities, as we can see now. Now, I must say that Institute of Malaysia was not spared either. And although surprised by it, we coped with the situation rather well and are making good progress towards normalization. Now, this is mainly due to the fact that the university has embarked on aggressive campus digitalization program since 2018 with the widespread use of massive open online courses, or in short MOOC, and open distance learning mode. Now, student and staff health and safety immediately became our utmost priority, and changes were made to some of the university's long-established practices. We quickly instituted a paradigm shift in embracing the new normal. Now, in the context of teaching and learning, we were among the first in Malaysia to make the shift from traditional methods, or better known as face-to-face, towards remote learning via online. Now, in other words, widespread use of information technology in our daily operation. This has been the andragogy adopted, and now we are about to introduce the hybrid approach, where both methods are to be made available to students. We make a point to listen actively and take all the measures deemed feasible to facilitate our students' needs, especially those from remote areas with internet connectivity problems and international ones who are barred from returning to campus for various reasons. Now, with regard to the university workforce, we strictly adhere to the Movement Control Order, or MCO, and the subsequent standard operating procedures introduced by the government of Malaysia. As we speak, the country is in its second round of MCO, and majority of our staff have been instructed to work from home, and their attendance is recorded remotely. Now, only those in the essential services are required to be on campus. Classes and administrative tasks are conducted remotely via various internet platforms, for example, WebEx, Zoom for online and other online platforms. Now, when COVID-19 was declared a pandemic by the World Health Organization back in March 2020 and became a global health crisis, the Malaysian government was quick to activate the national disaster management response measures that included a nationwide lockdown. Now, in essence, I think the whole country literally came to an abrupt standstill. Now, in response to this development, I took upon myself to practice self-leadership and look for various ways to inspire my team and innovate at the same time. I assess the reality that just struck us, look at the contingency plan to address the crisis, and instigated immediate actions to address the temporary national lockdown. In UUM, we do have a crisis management committee, headed by myself. This high-level task force consists of all the critical services, elements of the university, such as the Academic Affairs Department, Student Affairs Department, the University Health Center, the Security Department, the Development and Maintenance Department, and as well as the University Risk Management Center, to name a few. The committee regularly conduct meetings in order to monitor the situation on the ground. Now, one of the surveillance measures, which I could share this morning, taken by UUM, was to develop the COVID-19 self-assessment, or in short, COTSA, mobile application program, where all the university staff are required to update their health status daily through the smartphones. Now, staff and students are also encouraged to utilize the MySejahtera health platforms application that was developed by the government of Malaysia to assist in managing and mitigating the COVID-19 outbreaks in the country. This allows users to perform health self-assessment on themselves and their families. UUM also received a grant from the Ministry of Education Malaysia to the tune of Malaysia 3 million ringgit for the provision of food, ground transportation, and also a few flight tickets to those students who were staying on campus throughout the lockdown period. The university also received general sponsorship from various parties for a total of ringgit Malaysia 600,000. So in summary, in the context of pandemic COVID-19, which impacted us and everyone else throughout the world, I think we have done remarkably well to address this issue. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bashawir. I think similar experience is experienced by many vice chancellors in Malaysia, because we are very much centralized, and I believe all public university in Malaysia has a crisis management team and also risk management committee to oversee, to preempt issues that might affect the quality of teaching in higher education in Malaysia. Thank you so much, Dr. Bashawir. Okay, perhaps you can move to South Korea now. Maybe Dr. Mook So-an would like to share something you experienced from Korea.
First of all, thank you for having me to share the experiences at our university. Of course, the situation after pandemic is totally different from the situation before. Most of the classes are carried out online at our university at the moment, and we apply very strong preventive measure. When I enter one of the buildings at our university, first of all, I meet some very strong system for prevention. I need to check the body temperature at first, and then the employees are spraying disinfectant all the area at our university. And then we established the task force for COVID-19. We meet very often, and we take care of all the students and the professors at our university all the time. Especially for the foreign students, we take care of them very carefully. When a student from let's say Malaysia, he will come to our airport, and then we go there to take them, and then he will take the PCR test at first, and then come to the 14-day quarantine at our dormitory.
Oh, so you don't close border for international students to come in?
Yes, foreign students can come here.
Okay.
But right after coming here, he go to
Okay.
14-day quarantine facility.
Okay.
And then after 14 days, he will get another test for PCR test. And then if he is affected, he go to hospital very quickly. So it is very restrict, very strong measure in Korea at Jeonbuk National University as well. So the most important thing is prevention of COVID-19 and the health of students. That is the most important thing in this situation at the moment, Korea. And my university is trying to make very attractive online content, attractive online classes, as many as possible. So we provide some support to professors to make attractive online content. That is one of the strong points of our university. So we try to apply strong preventive measure, and on the other hand, we try to provide some intensive to make attractive online content. That is the two main points of our university.
Thank you, Dr. Arndt. It seems that teaching is still our given primary importance while facing this pandemic, I think, throughout the world. So perhaps you can listen experience from Mexico now. Dr. Silva, would you like to share your experience in Mexico?
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. First of all, I really want to thank you the opportunity for sharing this experience we have in Mexico with all of you. As you know, we are a comprehensive university, a public university. That's very important to know that we are a public university. But I want to point out that we shouldn't consider that this COVID-19, the pandemic, we were dealing with a lot of uncertainties. That makes the challenge thoughtful. So we are working with scientific uncertainty because of the limited understanding of this virus. And we were working with data uncertainty because it's incomplete the information we have at that moment to make decisions, and also policy uncertainty. So these three types of uncertainty make much more difficult to make decisions. However, I want to point out that since the universities around the world should show the leadership they do have for the sake of the communities, it was very important to make decisions, but make decisions based on the information available, the most trustable information. So good decisions should come from good information. And compared with Asia, in the case of University of Guanajuato, we have 3 months time, because we knew of the COVID by the end of December, and the first case in Mexico, in Guanajuato, was in March. So we have 3 months of experience from Asia to start thinking about how we will deal with this phenomenon. So I can say that we made decisions at the early stage of the COVID arrival in Mexico. This enabled the university to implement and to take measures about these technologies that should be used to continue the education or the university activities, because we made the decision by middle March to close the university. I can say that we were one of the first universities in Latin America and the first in the state to close the activities, in person. So we have to implement these platforms. We should to turn and reconfirm, make a new configuration of the way we teach and we learn, because we should move from in-person to online or not presence education. That was very important because it was really a reactions from both sides, from the administration, but also from the students and faculty. They were having reactions about why we now have to teach online. We are at the face-to-face teaching methodologies. So that's what really a challenge. So we stopped teaching in the university to transform the university or convert the university an online teaching university. Suddenly, that's what really a challenge. So we need to prepare the students to receive courses online, but also faculty members to enable them to develop the competencies to teach online. That's what's really difficult. And also from the administration, we should train and convert all the administrative process to be able to do that online, and also provide the administration to have the capabilities to do work at home. That was really a challenge. Now it seems to be normal after almost 1 year, but 1 year ago it was really thoughtful work. Also, I want to say that and share with you that the university changed also the way they communicate to all different members of the community. How do they communicate or inform about the change that were happening in the institution? So first, we should be sure that the decisions we make were for the sake of the students, that they will sure that they will be continuity to obtain the degrees. And we also changed because we were in the process of carry out entrance examinations. So we changed the entrance examinations methodology and also the process for selection of the new students. There was no fears, there was exam-based examination processes, but now we have to do online entrance examination or change based on the academic history of the students, based on also the interviews they can have online. So that was really a challenge, but now it seems to be, I can say this, to be accepted by the society, because I want to say that we were usually a classic university. So the need to adapt the teaching learning process in academic programs was really a challenge that I can say it was solved because of the will of the students, faculty members, and also from the staff of the university to enable and solve all the questions that students and faculty members do have. We also implement how to keep open 24 hours our libraries, and we have to change all the bibliography, the reference, the books to online ones. So those journals that seems to be only for researchers, now they were open to all the students. We also have have to provide the students to lend them for one semester computers, laptops, or iPads to work from their home. So we were working with the students to let them to continue their education from their home. Also, we have summer research programs. We did that summer research, but in virtual modality. This was really a good experience because we involved many universities from different countries, students from different countries, and I can say that we also implement a new modality for the final examinations of the presentation of dissertation to gain degrees were adapted also from online modality. I can say that that experience allow us to have supervisors and also members of the committee, evaluation committee from different countries and from different universities. So I can say that this was very good, but also from I can say that we have no crisis management team for COVID, but in the university we have teams or departments to cope with crisis from different. But we learn also from the previous experience of the pandemic influenza, the H1N1.
Okay.
So we learn from that the best way of facing these problems is having the information, good information on time. So we look for that good information to make the decision, and we got that information from our partners from different parts of the world. I can say that we got information from about 44 countries. We have partners in more than 40 countries. So they provide us with the status of the COVID at their country. So that was very good collaboration with also embassies and consulates of different countries, and in Mexico, also in other countries. So this allowed us to repatriate, to enable the repatriation of students, even those students that were in Mexico, to going back to their home country, and also to our students to come back to Mexico. So that was a very good experience. However, I can see that despite that, I can consider that we managed or handled in a good way the first wave of COVID. We have not learned still what is going to happen for the second stage, that is the returning. Returning will be very challenging because for us as university, it was easier to say, okay, from tomorrow we start online, but it won't be the case from online to now to presence education. So I can say that this is the experience we have, that we will be facing a higher, I can say a bigger challenge for the returning to presence education.
Thank you so much, Dr. Silva, for sharing your wonderful experience. Well, empowerment is the keywords and communication you mentioned. Even though you don't have the crisis management theme, but each department knows how to direct themselves with good data, well-informed data, and guided by the top management. I think you can do a wonderful job for any institution. Okay, I just noticed Professor Arif just joined us. Maybe I give you a few minutes to settle down. Let us move back to the topic here. It's interesting when you mention about a preparation of welcoming back the returning student. If we can have very quickly, I mean, 1 minute, for instance, what are the preparation to welcome the students back? Now, are you prepared? Is the university having clear mechanism to welcome them back anytime sooner? Datuk Bashawi, maybe you would like to share UUM strategic plan for this?
Sure. View this very seriously. I think internationalization has always been our key priority areas since our inception. I think there are various measures that we have taken to address these issues. I'm sure this not only affected UUM, but also it's also affected almost every university in the world. Almost everyone is affected by it. I think UM is quite fortunate in the sense that the brand Universiti Utara Malaysia is very important. We have got the brand already by now. I think after 12 years of inception, I think almost everyone in the circles or the community is aware about our presence. We make our presence felt. I think the brand is very important, and its trustworthiness. These are going to be our long-term objective. I think with regard to your question, I think we are ready to receive some students back to Malaysia. In fact, as a matter of fact, the government of Malaysia has just recently announced that they are most welcome to enter Malaysia with effect March. Of course, with the strictly adherent to the Ministry of Health Malaysia, the standard operating procedures, and also the Immigrations Office before they allow us to enter Malaysia. At the same time, also we have come up with very regimented so-called programs to receive them back. We provide logistical support, psychological support, and this is very important because we don't want to, to have any backlash or even rejection from the part of international students.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Bashawi. Perhaps I can move to Professor Arif from APB Indonesia. You missed the first round just now. We talked about how you handled the first wave of COVID-19 pandemic, how successfully you have managed to overcome some obstacles during the first phase. Or perhaps now you can also move to internationalization, because the topic has been introduced by Dr. Bashawi just now. Because if you notice in our recent 2020 QS survey report entitled How COVID-19 is Impacting Prospective International Students at Different Study Level, one of the findings mentioned that almost 62% of our students mentioned that I now intend to defer my entry until next year. Well, this will definitely affect our international recruitment drive. So how would your respective university strategize a possible drop in international student recruitment? Perhaps give a chance for Professor Arif to share IPB experience with us.
Yes, well, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Salam.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your question. It is very timely to have discussion with all of you regarding how universities deal with the new situation, what we call is uncertainty. Because now COVID-19 pandemic is one of the uncertainty, and we need to be more agile and more adaptive with this new situation. Regarding what is the future of universities, actually now we are of course still preparing with the reference in many countries like Australia. Australia now prepare what we call the scenario 1. We call it Champion University, scenario 2 Commercial University, scenario 3 Disruptive University, and scenario 4 Virtual University. It is this scenario is very important. But one of the component of this scenario is about the virtual university. In these virtual universities, where the role government is very low, and then the students they don't need specific course, unbundled course. So there is the freedom for the students to choose what kind of the curricula what they need. Regarding local relevance, ladies and gentlemen, now everybody now at home, now work from home, now online learning we develop. what was the most important thing? It is the opportunity for the students to have the special activity in around their hometown. For example, we have many students now is located in many in all provinces in Indonesia, and then we have the specific program for them, actually in service learning program or field program. In this field program, it is very important for the students to learn from the reality around them, and then see how they can collaborate with the community, and then and also they have to make the education about the COVID-19. And I think it's very important because the students become the role model in preparing, you know.
How do you, Professor Arif, how do you handle service learning during pandemic? Are you going into e-service learning?
Pardon? Hello?
You mentioned your students are into service learning project with the
Yes.
community, but during pandemic, how do you sustain service learning without face-to-face interaction? Are you moving
Yes.
into e-service learning?
Yes, we do service learning, and we don't use service learning online. We use in the reality. So, for example, in one city like in Bogor, for example, there are the students in the semester 6, because in the semester 6 they have to do something in the field because service learning program, and then they do in the interaction with the community. They have to educate about how to anticipate with the the COVID, how to how to, it's like the transfer knowledge, and then they have to campaign to the community, how to, for example, to strengthen the immunity, how to what kind of the consumption we need to do to maintain our health, and then the campaigns how to to use mask, yeah? And then to keep distance, something like that. So they do many activities in the field with the health protocol. It's very strict health protocol. So it is, of course, it is very risky. It is very risky. So we need to have the coordination with the COVID center in the each town. We have to make coordination, and then also the students who interested to join this program, they have to get permission from their parents.
Okay.
And another one is
I asked
we
you
got support.
because I
Yes,
asked you
we
because
got
in
support from the
Malaysia we
government.
promote. Oh, there must be a delay. sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I asked this question earlier because in Malaysia we promote e-service learning under e-Sulam. We call it is project, a nationwide project, because during this pandemic our students cannot go to the ground, so we really promote e-learning solution for service learning. Actually, I wonder if that is also happening in Indonesia.
Yes, yes. As I mentioned before, for preparing the students to go to the field, we do by online, where learning like training center, and then after that, the students for 2 months get in touch with the community in the fields to make the education, to make campaign and so on, and that's under supervision from the government. So we, of course, we have to keep the students. We have to protect the student from the COVID. So I think it is what we done. And then the second issue is about the research. I think yes, collaborative research with national and global partners now is kept being conducted, and in the local university is asked to participate. So especially the research regarding COVID pandemic. The last one is about capacity building program. We develop this capacity building program in many ways, especially during COVID-19 pandemic. Many online events have been conducted, including on-site training following COVID-19 protocol. I think training for COVID-19 protocol is very important, especially for the low-educated people in the field, because we also focus not only in the town, but of course in the village area. If many COVID-19 pandemic happen in the town, in the city, will be problem on economy. But if there is problem of COVID in the village area, it will very, very dangerous for our life. That's why we have to educate, to campaign the villagers about the danger of COVID, and then how we have to keep our health to deal with the COVID pandemic.
Thank you, Professor Arif, for your sharing. I'm sorry, the line is not pretty.
One more.
Okay.
The last one is about the national government have the policy to encourage the students to go to the field, to go to the village area, to stay with them, and then for education, and then we can count for them for credit earning from the field activities in the field. It is the national policy of the government. So it is the good
Even during
policy,
pandemic,
but it is encouraged the students to do that.
Even during pandemic, they were allowed to go to the field?
Yes, but with the health
with close supervision,
health protocol, especially activities related to COVID pandemic anticipation. Yes.
All right. Thank you. It seems that
And
you
also
really
for
empower the
economic
students.
recovery. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems that you really empower the student to take an adult roles to together combat this pandemic. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. I think we have seen how each university has, handled the first wave of the pandemic successfully. But we have question here. The first question we want to entertain here is from Dr. Sharifah Munira Al-Atas. Can the speakers please comment on how globalization has negatively impacted the quality of higher education worldwide? Because universities around the world compete for top students, which makes global education about student mobility. Maybe you can address issues about competition and its impact on the quality, especially on the social sciences and humanities, research and publication of university academic. And what you see as the post-COVID-19 role of university leadership in the intellectual growth of educators in those social sciences and humanities. I open to the panel. Anyone would like to pick up this question? Maybe Dr. An?
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
We have a question from the audience. Can you comment on that? Or anyone of the panel would like to pick up this question? How globalization has negatively impacted the quality of higher education worldwide, especially from the social sciences and humanities. I mean, in terms of research and publication of university academic, etc. Anyone would like to pick up that question?
Rosna, let me just quickly respond. I mean, it's a very broad and general question. It's not going to be easy to answer it. But I think with regard to the university's response to globalization, I think it varies from one country to another. As you're fully aware of, there is a wide disparity in terms of internet connectivity among countries, even within countries. So in the context of Malaysia, those living in the rural may not have the same quality of internet facilities as opposed to those living in the urbans. So these are some of the issues that I think every government in the world are trying their level best to address it. In the case of Malaysia, I'm optimistic. The government of Malaysia vis-a-vis higher education, I think they are doing their level best. In fact, we are working closely with the telecommunication providers and various parties to address these issues. I think insofar as the quality is concerned, I think we're not going to compromise it. It's just that technology is not just a tool, it's just an enabler. But what is important is that knowledge is imparted, knowledge is transferred. These are key issues that I think everybody must seriously ponder and think deep how to address this issue. Well, I don't think quality is going to be diluted or diminished whatsoever because of the pandemic. I think pandemic is just a temporary phenomenon. When it is over, everybody will be back to the universities, back to whatever campuses they are currently enrolled. And once that situation is improved, I think things will return to normalcy. I think again, my quick response to that is that it will affect, but will not in a way diluted or diminish the quality of education at all, Professor.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Bashawir. Dr. An, you would like to add something to this?
My major is international politics. So in studying and in doing research in international politics, the important thing is the communication each other, talking each other. In the process of communication, I can get something. I can get some inspiration. But in this dire situation, we cannot communicate very effectively. And then the second thing is it is very hard to carry out fieldwork in social science. Doing document survey is one part, and the other part is fieldwork. We go some field and we do some interviews, and by doing this kind of work, we can go to the in-depth study. But the pandemic prevents us from doing this kind of very important thing. So in academia, the pandemic is very dangerous thing, I think.
Okay, thank you, Dr. An. I think I'm going to move to the very important, pertinent issue for this session today. It's about future university, because we have about 21 minutes left here. Well, let us address what should be the future university, because as a whole world is redefining all sectors of our life, do you think we should also rethink and redefine how universities are being assessed and ranked? And thus, is gaining global prominence still a game changer that differentiates universities? What do you think?
It's a very interesting question for Hosna. Again, it's not going to be easy to answer, but I believe the only thing that is constant is change. The future holds many possibilities and uncertainties. I think we should brace ourselves for any eventualities that another health crisis would strike the world again. We never know. It could be next year, it could be in 5 years, there'll be another pandemic. I think Malaysia doing pretty well. Malaysia practices open economy. It's gradually, transiting slowly but surely towards a knowledge and innovation-based economy. I think the emphasis now on the part of the government is on innovation and upskilling of our human resources. We have abundant supply of good quality human resources. Just the creation of, I think, knowledge and novel thinking processes, I think, pivotal that underpin the fourth industrial revolution 4.0. I think our academia, I think must seriously undertake a paradigm shift, I think, by blending academic and career-oriented motif into that contributes to the overall growth of the economy.
So you still believe that gaining global prominence is still a game changer for future university?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Bashawir. Maybe we hear from Dr. Silva from Mexico.
Sure, thank you. Actually, I want to also contribute to the previous one, because I do consider that globalization is an existing phenomenon. And even so, science cannot deny that this globalization exists. So I cannot say that if globalization impacted the quality of your programs for better or for worse. So that's complicated. But I can say that this globalization has promoted what in a traditional way we call social learning process. It accelerates the social learning process. So the information that is shared is easier to be converted in knowledge. And this knowledge can generate understanding not only in the local context, but also in the global context, and maybe arrive to collaboration in terms of academia, research, or the social and economic development. I just want to point out that about the future universities or the future of the universities, I want to say that we should consider that the universities were founded. The foundation of universities have reasons that differ from university to university. So assess university based on stereotypes universities or based on research or industry income, or it should be not the ideal about how to assess university. I think that the assess of the university should go back to review the mission of the universities. If this university was founded in the principles to attain local needs, we should consider that at the moment we assess the performance of any universities. Of course, future universities should be based on the previous roots, but also take care of the development of scientific, technological, social, and also consider the new ways of learning. With this pandemic, we have learned that after the pandemic, things will not be the same. The students will accept e-learning, administrative or staffs will be also accept to do work at home, and also teachers will have the opportunity to use e-learning, for example, to have the opportunity to attend to symposiums, to conference, to congress, without leaving students, without teaching. So that's very important. So universities of the future should be those flexible universities, but flexible that also don't lose their humanities, reasons that founded this university. So I want to say that a flexible university that also is focused on social, economic, and technological, and be able to prepare better students, more integrated students, not only with technical skills, but also with humans, to enable them to understand different societies, different ways of thinking, and ways of see the world. So this is very important. The elements that a new university should have, much more than, of course, rankings are important, but should be not the end of the university. It's not the mission comply with rankings. So we should consider that the first mission of the students is to present, contribute to the development of the local society. Of course, contribute to the global development is important, but we should consider that this kind of the universities for the future are also important.
If I may add,
Exactly.
Rosna, if I may add a bit on this particular issue, some of us in the industry seriously discussing the concept of outsourced university. Now, I think this is a new terminology whereby this public-private partnership, I think, will, in the long term, benefit the campus community, especially our students. I think this arrangement allows, I think, students to spending only half of the student days on campus, whilst honing their theoretical understanding, and the other half in the industry, of choice towards completing, I think, their studies. I think there are also some universities, I think, are also looking into establishing a consortium, I think, like alliances of mutual, I think, interest, similar to COVAX, a consortium, or akin to COVAX, a consortium of vaccine providers. I think we should also explore a consortium of education providers, spearheaded maybe by United Nations, similar to COVAX, spearheaded by World Health Organization. And I foresee, and I honestly foresee, that this new form of diplomacy, will bolster cooperation between countries, will be having similar quality of education throughout the world, sharing similar approach as an economic diplomacy that Malaysia, I think, is seriously and aggressively propagating now, Rosna.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Bashir. Yes,
we
Dr.
must,
Silva, yeah.
We must consider that the concept and configuration of the future universities, for sure, is going to change. It's not going to be the same than now.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. I think it's very interesting when you mentioned a consortium working together, because currently we also have lots of MOUs already with international partnerships. I think it's time for us to consolidate and move forward with a better concerted effort to achieve our common goals in higher education. I would like to move to Korea now, to Dr. Mu So-an, because we know Korea has very strong industry-university partnership. How does this pandemic affect your relationship and shape the future of university in Korea, for instance?
Yeah, the strategy for our university is trying to make a lot of consortium and MOUs with especially Asian countries, such as Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore. But the pandemic is a very important thing at the moment. But we try to communicate each other by online, and we try to give and take by online curriculum and online system. But I think in this situation, one of the most thing is trying to their own specialty, trying to develop their own strong point. A lot of universities are trying to be prominent in the world, but in this kind of strategy, so there is a possibility that that kind of university lose their one strong point. So we try to make our strong point more strong, and then communicate with international foreign universities. So we try to invest it, and we try to establish our very strong department or very strong program for domestic student and the international student, and then try to promote that kind of strong department and program to the world. That is our strategy to get more attraction from foreign countries.
Okay. If I can go back to you, Dr. An, we are curious to know your relationship with industry, because we know universities in Korea work closely with industry, strong support from industry. How does COVID-19 pandemic affect this relationship between university and industry? In what way is the relationship affected or not at all affected?
It affected a bit, but I don't think it is very serious because in industry we can develop the industry and industrial engineering and industrial studies by online. So we try to communicate, and we try to give and take very important knowledge and information by online and even telephone. And sometimes we go there, and sometimes we invite some industrial engineering part or industrial people. So I don't think it is a very serious problem. It affected a bit, but it is not a serious problem.
Right. Thank you. Well, I received quite a number of questions here, but most of the questions focus a lot on the teaching, the quality of teaching and learning at higher education. Maybe I can summarize a few. For instance, from Alvaras Torres Francisco, what is the future for face-to-face university? Is it going to disappear? Wow. So can I ask to perhaps Professor Arif from EPB? What do you think? What's the future of university? Are you there?
He's not there.
Okay, maybe I move to Professor Silva.
Yes, actually, I can say that it's not going to disappear, the face-to-face university, because, you know, of course, the e-learning is very important and will become more popular from now. But the experience, the skills you develop during all activities that you can do face-to-face are not going to disappear. You need those skills, for example, to enable to understand the behavior of others, and also to make you more, how can I say, to develop skills to work in teams, and also to collaborate, and to enable to work not only with men and ladies, but from your own community, but also from different communities, people with different background, with different interests that commute in face-to-face classrooms. So I am sure that it's not going to disappear, but also I'm sure that e-learning is going to become more fruitful, and because much more
become the new lifestyle.
Educational programs will be developed now from the beginning to be taught in systems. And this pandemic forced us to adapt our programs to e-learning. But now, if we develop programs from the beginning to be taught in e-learning modes, the impact of the learning will be much more benefited.
Professor, if I may add, Professor, it is very interesting a discussion or deliberation with regard to whether the present form of university will be replaced entirely by so-called online learning. Very interesting. But I wish to throw a caution in the discussion about the future, which seems to be dominated by technology and remote learning experiences. I think, in my opinion, there seem to be many advantages with regard to online learning. But at the same time, there are also many detriments to it, such as the lack of soft skill development, for instance, a lack of synergy, rapport with others, and focusing more on theory rather than practice. I think we're all human. I think naturally human nature dictates that some things cannot be taught. There must be experience, touch, feelings. You'll never learn this, lessons, you'll have lessons and in life until you go through this journey. That's my quick response to it, Professor.
Thank you. Yes, true, Dr. Bashawi, because university learning is not about knowledge seeking, knowledge transmission only, but it's also about social interaction, about life on campus. The 4 years living on campus is something that normally is memorable time for most of us, actually. So I think I would like to go to the last question. Maybe I give each of you about 2 minutes to talk about your future. How do you plan to bring your university to the next level, looking at the current situation? Because we have the new lifestyle now. There's no longer ERT. There's no longer emergency remote teaching. It's real remote teaching and improved remote teaching. And it has become part of our lifestyle now. So what is your plan then to bring your university to the next level, 2021 onwards? Maybe we'll start with Professor Arif, are you still there? Oh, I saw a different participant
Professor
now.
I am representing Professor Arif. Yeah.
Okay,
Arif Satria,
would you like
I'm
to?
Rector
Yeah.
of IPB University.
Yeah, please welcome
Yeah,
Dr.
because
Professor
Professor
Didi.
Arif Satria
Yeah.
just have a meeting with the minister. Yeah.
Right, okay.
We have fortunately, yeah, we fortunately have prepared online system, yeah, for our not only learning system but all administrative system at IPB University has been electronically with Internet of Things, yeah. And of course, there are some activities that cannot conducted by e-learning. For example, for the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine, for example, because it is not possible to learn injection to the animal with online system. I think they have to practice in the animal hospital. And also student service learning, we have what we call it KKN domisili or a student service learning. So we have a learning service of the students. So they make activity, all activities in their hometown. So it is make much easier for the students to make a face-to-face student service learning with a minimum risk due to the pandemic. I think this is the planning of our university in the future.
Okay, thank you, Professor Didi from IPB. Okay, maybe Dr. An, would you like to share your plan to bring university to the next level in Korea?
Let me explain the situation in South Korea. Many students don't come to university and they stay home, and they watch a lot of videos through YouTube or Facebook or some other SNS. But that kind of commercial video or clip is very interesting, very attractive. So the students are used to be familiar with that kind of attractive and interesting video clips. So professors should be more attractive. So the teachers at universities has two tasks. One should teach very in-depth studies, deep studies, deep knowledge. And the second task is that kind of teaching should be interesting, should be attractive. So we try to make very interesting, attractive the classes. Even after the pandemic, even after students came to university, they expect more interesting classes, more attractive classes, because they experienced a lot of interesting video clips. So we try to support professors to make interesting classes, to make attractive classes. That is our strategy to upgrade our education.
Yeah, I think Dr. An, you just respond to one question actually. People have been asking how university has been doing to help mitigate the psychosocial effect, mental health of the staff and students. I think what you mentioned just now is training, retraining of staff, supporting them to provide quality materials. I think those are among the way forwards for the university, providing supporting ecosystem to help the student and also the academic to become more agile, more adaptive to the new digital education context. Of course, we can see throughout the world, there's a diversity among us, the academic, some very techno-savvy, some pretty traditional, but the traditional one has to move on if they want to remain relevant in higher education for years to come, I believe. And I also agree with Dr. Bashawir mentioned that face-to-face won't go away, even though we have some response here saying that face-to-face is forgone. It's a long tradition, but many people believe there is a need for face-to-face because we're dealing with humans. And I would like to bring to, if I can share, I think one thing about if there is any silver lining in this pandemic, I think is the democratization of higher education by giving opportunity for students to access broad knowledge, broad education via online learning. Now they can listen to great professors from MIT, from Harvard. I mean, now it's suddenly online learning has become a trend, a lifestyle, and I think that's the future. I think, but these are the challenges. How do we support this kind of future without good financial model? So I would like to ask, what would be the future sustainable financial model for the university to provide all the support to academic and to students in universities?
It is a quick response from me, Prof. Now, I think
yeah, being expert in business, maybe Dr. Bashar, we can share your, how do you envision the financial model for the university?
Yes, I think I've responded partially early on my proposal on the establishment of the consortium, Prof. Now, I think that's going to be key, and in whatever we do in the foreseeable future. I think it's going to be more dynamic and fluid. I think consortium, we should seriously consider a consortium of higher education. And in Malaysia, we have got 20 public institutions of higher learning, which receive grants annually from the government. I think it's high time that the government seriously look into this matter and strategize, give the way forward. I think discussion is ongoing, I believe. And in the case of UUM, I think we will come up with crisis stronger. I think with resolve, I think not to overreact, but I think calmly and methodically build confidence in our stakeholders. I think that's key. I think, as I said, as I commented earlier also, with regard to our brand and whatnot, I think we have received a very positive response from the industry as well. How do we move on from here? Some of the activity may be outsourced. Students may not have to stay on campus the entire academic programs. They can just stay with us for maybe 2 years and the remaining 2 years at the industry. So these are the future orientation of higher education for Malaysia, I think, Rosna.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Bashawi. Any final last words from Dr. An before we close the session? Yeah. Any final words from you? Or Dr. Silva, any final words from Guanajuato University?
I want to share with you that based on this experience of the COVID pandemic, I can say that the COVID pushed the university to accelerate its process to establish the digital university or digital campus. So we are preparing for the future of the education, e-learning, by establishing this digital campus. Through this digital campus, we do offer our programs not only in Mexico, but also in all the Spanish speaker countries. There are 21 countries where Spanish is spoken. Even in the United States, I can say that in the United States, there are about 13 million Mexicans. So we can offer the opportunity to be educated, to complete their elementary education or gain degree from the country they are. This is very important because if we consider that IT, the industry 4.0, is very important to democratize the education, but also to offer opportunities to people from all around the world. Also, this IT offered the opportunities to generate new universities who really work in a collaborative way. That means that really work together, not only on research, not only in students' mobility, but also on granting double degree programs. That will be very important and very convenient for future students, and also to have the input from different e-learning models and e-learning programs. Maybe will be able to generate these liquid professionals that can be adapted to any conditions of the industry, of the government. So that will be very important. So that's why the University of Guanajuato is working on developing this digital campus, not only to obtain or gain financial support, but also to contribute to the democratization of the education in the world.
Well, thank you, Dr. Silva. You aptly said about the democratization of higher education worldwide now. Perhaps the Bologna process is now becoming a global, not simply restricted to European countries. Any final words from Dr. An and also from IPB? We are coming to the end of the session. Maybe I'll give you 1 minute, Dr. An. Anything?
Yeah. We are facing a very difficult time at the moment. But after pandemic, we needed to develop our classes. We should develop our classes, even though we can access online content from Harvard or MIT. I think the person-to-person classes are very important for all time. So if we try to overcome the challenge from very good online content from abroad, we need to develop our own person-to-person classes at our university, at our own universities. That is one of our strategy to develop our university.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. An.
1 second, Rosna, just be 1 second.
Yeah, okay. 1 minute, I thought, because we are coming to the end.
Right.
Okay.
I think it's key to remember, always remember, a knowledge still needs to be imparted to learners, I think, in a manner that incorporates both realism and experience and meaningful. That's it. That's from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And from IPB, last word from IPB.
Much, yeah. At IPB, we not only develop online learning system, but we develop also the digital program for the villagers and farmers. For example, we develop precision agriculture that help farmer digitalizing of agriculture system for the fertilizer, yeah, for example, and also we develop also entrepreneurship environment system in the village, yeah, by supporting to develop what we call it a startup for the village, yeah, young CEO in the village. It is also what I have already developed with 52 villages in West Java province, and now we just try to develop in other province. I think it is also very important in the future.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Well, the future of higher education may seem uncertain for now, but we have heard how we can redefine, recreate, and reinvent learning experiences for the future. So again, thank you so much to Professor Arif Satria for joining us from Indonesia, Professor Sergio Antonio Silva Munoz for joining us from Mexico, Dr. Mu Su An for joining us from South Korea, and joining us from UUM Malaysia, Professor Dr. Ahmad Bashawir Haji Abdul-Ghani. And to our loyal participants out there and on Zoom and FB Live, thanks a bunch for being a very engaged audience. I noticed lots of questions, but I noticed also the question mainly pertains to quality teaching learning. Maybe UKM should conduct another forum on improving the quality teaching and learning. Again, thank you so much for all the distinguished speakers, and also UKM for giving us time for deliberate on this important issue today. So without further ado, I hand over the session to Dr. Tanot. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor
you.
Dr.
Thank
Rosna
you.
Awang Hashim, and
Yes,
all the
Bill.
distinguished panelists for such an inspiring discussions. May it
Thank you.
be a light to guide our feet to move further in internalizations and prove that extends our relevance as a strategic institutions of the higher educations. Ladies and gentlemen, this fourth webinar is the last of it under the collaborative partnerships of AKEPT and UKM, and planning began even before the pandemic. Thanks to all your support, we have now completed the series. To commemorate the closing event of this event and partnership, we would like to invite Yang Berbahagia Secretary General, Ministry of Higher Education Malaysia, Dato Sri Dr. Mazlan Yusof, for closing remarks. Yang Berbahagia Dato Sri, the screen is yours.
Yang Berhormat Datuk Seri Dr. Norani Ahmad, Minister of Higher Education Malaysia, Professor Dr. Nordin Yahya, Director, Higher Education Leadership Academy or AKEPT, Malaysia, Professor Dr. Ikhwan Haji Toriman, Vice Chancellor Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia, Professor Dr. Ahmad Bashawir Haji Abdul-Ghani, Vice Chancellor Universiti Utara Malaysia, Professor Dr. Arif Satria, Rector IPB University Indonesia, Dr. Moon Suk An, Vice President for International Affairs, Jeonbuk National University, South Korea, Dr. Sergio Antonio Silva Munoz, Provost for Academic Affairs, the University of Guanajuato, Mexico, Professor Dr. Rosna Awang Hashim, Academy of Professors Malaysia and Universiti Utara Malaysia, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Warm greetings from the Ministry of Higher Education Malaysia. My fellow speakers and participants, thank you very much for the interesting and invigorating discussion. My gratitude to all present who have given their time and dedication, and also to the moderator for managing such an interesting intellectual discourse. I trust that all of you have listened to the four renowned university presidents on the issues faced and the way forward. Indeed, I believe there is so much that we can learn and gain from their experience and knowledge imparted during the session. For those of you who have closely followed the University President's Forum, you may have realized that AKEPT with Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia have conducted 4 series altogether. We have now reached the end of the University President Forum, as it is the last series for the forum as a whole. Thus, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to those who involved in ensuring that the forum is a success, particularly the Higher Education Leadership Academy, or AKEPT, and its Universiti Kebangsaan Malaysia. Despite the pandemic, the program managed to gather university presidents across the globe to share their insights and thoughts on issues surrounding the international higher education landscape, especially in our current challenging situation filled with many uncertainties. Thanks to the availability of technology and webinars application tools, we are able to meet and share experiences and knowledge that would benefit the higher education landscape. Ladies and gentlemen, as we have arrived to the last part of this wonderful series, I can conclude that the platform has imparted relevant and important knowledge not just locally but also globally. I have been informed that the number of participants recorded was exceedingly high, where in each series, a total number of around 500 registered participants and around 5,000 viewers on social media. This is indeed something for us to be proud of, and AKEPT and UKM could have not done this without your strong support. As you have heard this morning in Datuk Sri Noraini's welcoming speech, the Minister had mentioned about the Ministry's way forward, which is to focus on internationalization of programs. And I believe that AKEPT and UKM have taken the challenge to address the needs of the Ministry and also the country. Although there were challenges in conducting this program, both parties have overcome the obstacles and delivered their best in ensuring the success of this program. Ladies and gentlemen, throughout the series in the University President's Forum, we could see that to be a true leader in higher education, one needs to have a heart-guided leadership trait such as agility, compassion, tolerance, courtesy, intelligence, and wisdom. It is through the conversation and discussion using this platform that the presidents are challenged with questions relating to their experience, strategies, and their vision for the institution's future. If we follow the discussion thoroughly, we will be able to critically analyze the values, vision, and knowledge of a higher education leader. The Ministry and AKEPT, as a leadership academy, wish to train and inspire more leaders and also academics in higher education to gain knowledge and obtain skills relevant to the situation today. In line with the world's current dynamics, as I have mentioned earlier, technology allows leaders to exchange innovative ideas using the interactive system to foster collaboration in order to work collaboratively with others. In shaping and producing good leaders, tools such as the competency framework to assist in profiling the academic leaders, trainings such as QALB guided leadership, human governance in leadership, strategic collegial management, persona of a leader, facets of higher education, and open forums, intellectual discourses such as the University President Forum and Leadership Talk series are important to nurture the leadership values and competencies. These types of initiatives will help the academic leaders to gain the skills and knowledge regarding leadership in order to perform their tasks not only as an academic and researcher, but also as a leader. This is the focus and aim of AKEPT as a leadership academy. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a wonderful journey throughout all the 4 series of the University President's Forum. Once again, I would like to thank and congratulate all parties involved, particularly the teams from AKEPT and UKM, for making the vision of the Ministry of Higher Education of Malaysia a reality. To everyone who has followed the series from its inception, my thanks to you too. Although this is the last series with UKM, it is definitely not the end of it. The next round of University President Forum will be conducted with the University of Malaysia Sabah or UMS. Do stay tuned as the next forum is scheduled sometime in the 3rd quarter of the year, and I'm sure UMS will be able to engage renowned presidents and leaders to discuss important topics relating to higher education, particularly the ones that lead to a better future for higher education. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a great honor for me to be able to witness the success of the University President's Forum. And thank you again to all for making this program a success. I would like to end my speech with a quote on leaders by Ronald Reagan. The greatest leader is not necessarily the one who does the greatest things. He is the one that gets the people to do the greatest things. Therefore, fellow speakers and audience, be great leaders, continue to inspire others, and success will definitely follow. With that, I hereby close the session today. Thank you, and till we meet again. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much, Yang Berbahagia Datuk Seri Dr. Maslan Yusuf, for such lovely words. Indeed, the past webinar sessions have imparted valuable lessons and best practices that have benefited the attendees. Now, we would like to memorialize our today webinar with photo sessions for the panelists, moderators, and representatives from UKM. We'd like to welcome Professor Dr. Osman Karim, and from AKEPT, Professor Dr. Nordin Yahya.
Well done, AKEPT. Well done.
Well done.
Ready? 1. Okay, thank you so much. We have now approached the end of our webinar. On behalf of organizer, we would like to thank the presidents and the representative and the International Office of University Utara Malaysia, IPB University Bogor, Indonesia, University of Guanajuato, Mexico, and John Book National University, South Korea, for their cooperations in realizing today's event. Our esteemed International Office of Local University, our partner university from across the globe, the embassies and consulate representative, and also the technical team from the faculties of Medicine UKM for the technical support. A special thanks to AKEPT for believing in us in co-organizing the event and the support provided making the series a success. Thank you to the Ministry of Higher Education for their constant support in ensuring the global impact of this event. Before we end this webinar, we would like to cordially invite all of you to upcoming seminar by AKEPT on Value-Based Leadership and Value-Based Performance 2021. It is a 2-day seminar from 15 to 16 February. This is e-cert seminar and registrations are required. For the info, please browse AKEPT website and Facebook. All in all, I'm Tanur Unja, sign off here as your MC. Thank you very much. Terima kasih. Muchas gracias. Kamsahamnida. Till we meet again. Salam.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone. Thank you all.
Everyone, thank you, Prof. Thank you, Yas. Thank you.
And thank you, Pak Ruspa,
Thank you.
Thank you.
moderating the
Thank you
session.
very much from Universiti Kebangsaan
Thank you,
Malaysia.
Dr.
Thank you, Prof.
Yasrina.
Nordin.
Take care.
Prof. Usman Karim.
Thank
for
you,
being here.
everyone.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Dr.
Rosna.
Tano. Well done.
Well
Good job.
done.
Thank you, Nordin.
Thank you, Prof. Nordin, Prof. Yas, yeah,
Our
Thank you,
pleasure.
Dr.
and
Silva.
Dr.
We'll cooperate
Prof.
again.
Rosna. Dr. Rosna,
Dr.
thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the
Yeah.
invitation.